We have come to Lavagna to test the new model released by Cantieri del Pardo, Grand Soleil 50, a model that is completely new compared to the older one when it comes to the waterline as well as the interior space and deck. The technical office of Cantieri del Pardo has interviewed, in the real sense of the word, quite a few long-time enthusiasts of Grand Soleil, in order to obtain useful information for the development of a project that would meet the new requirements. Once this information was obtained, it was then passed on to Boten and Karkik, the designers who stepped in, as mentioned earlier, in the hull by widening the bow and stern areas, and pushing back the hull beam as much as possible, in order to have a hull that is more powerful and at the same time offering more interior space and dimension. To an innovative project, the shipyard has decided to also utilize a construction method as well as materials that are innovative and include lots of carbon in order to render it more lightweight and resistant, as well as infusion for the construction of the deck of the hull. Now we are inside the Satyrs Cabin, which can be used also as sail store. Here you can clearly see the structure that Cantieri del Pardo created to give lots of rigidity to the boat. This omega extends down along the hull, meets the floor, and goes back up to the opposite side, and is joined by a large beam that runs across the entire deck. This structure repeats itself various times throughout the entire boat, from bow to stern.
Questa struttura si ripete per diverse volte lungo tutta la barca da prua fino a poppa.
The deck of Grand Soleil 50 immediately evokes a feeling of order and cleanliness, with a design that is modern and provides enough space to maneuver and relax. Ergonomic cockpit, in which the positioning of the winch facilitates maneuvers, even with a short-handed crew, allowing the helmsman to tack by himself. Porthole, retractable bits, space to stow away equipment, and a small electronic foldable platform, as well as a layout that is elegant and sleek.
In un gavone che rende l'accesso difficoltoso.
In regards to the equipment on deck, we want to point out the decision to size each stopper based on the type of running rigging that passes. In the center, between the two steering wheels, we have the area for the wheelhouse. This is also in carbon, like the shaft and the wheel blade. And of course, the objective is to reduce, as much as possible, the weight and at the same time, not reducing but instead obtaining lots of resistance. The size of the pulley has also been enlarged in order to reduce resistance when hauling. And here in this cabinet, they have added a switch for fuel, one for the power supply to the generator and one for heating. After a few hours of navigation, the impressions are at the limits of elation. Driven by variable winds from 4 to 18 knots, the boat reacted by literally creating what is a strong apparent wind. With 6 knots of true wind, we sailed a 34-degree closed hull and reaching 5.8 knots of speed. But when the air increased above 18 knots, we quickly reached 10 knots. Maneuverability is good, with fast advancement when exiting the maneuver. Very reactive. The balance between the size of the bow and stern is the strong point of this boat, and this translates into excellent stability of the course. At sunset, we allowed ourselves the pleasure of a beautiful run under Janaker, gliding beyond 7 knots. The interior space of the boat is very generous. There is lots of space in the more common areas that are intended for entertaining, with a large space and a kitchen that is very well equipped, and lots of food storage space and storage room for clothing and linens. The configuration of this boat includes 2 cabins at the stern and the reinforcement at the bow, with a bathroom that is divided into 2 separate rooms.
Una cabina di prua, come si può vedere, che offre
One of the cabins at the bow, as you can see, offers a walking space that is very large and therefore easy to move around. In this case, the choice of the enthusiast was to have 2 separate twin beds, but the yard also offers the model with a queen-size bed. We already mentioned that the space is a dominating factor in this environment, as well as the space for storing clothes and linens. There are closets, drawers, small cabinets, lockers, everything needed in order to make our things disappear. In the dining area, the table can be moved in order to obtain more space. Also, by moving the chart table and the co-location of 2 other chairs, you could obtain 3 extra seats. Special attention was given to the kitchen, which has 2 large counter spaces and a great supply of appliances. The chart table is also the electronic heart of the boat. A complete instrument panel from which all the functions are controlled, and a computer with GPS and map navigator positioned here to the side. Also, here is an accessory that is definitely not necessary for the hull, but can amaze us with the special effects. A television that can perform all the functions of the computer.
Siamo stupidi con questi effetti speciali. Televisore cui possiamo rinviare tutte le funzioni del computer. E ora scendiamo nel
And now we will go down into the heart of the structure. Here we can see the stainless steel slab that is glued to the hull and wedged against the backing plate of the keel. In fact, here, 2 of the studs that tie the keel to the hull are visible. Therefore, in the case of impact, the pressure of the impact will be transmitted onto this slab, which will at the same time shift the pressure onto the floor and the spars.